Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's training session. I am Doug Cook, the president of Jack's Fax Travel Marketing, and I would like to thank everyone for taking time out of your day to join us for this presentation. Today we're joined by Cyril Lamar. Cyril is the president of Quest Travel Adventures, and Quest is the official North American representative of Tenerife, which is, of course, one of the Canary Islands. Over the past year, we've written a lot about Tenerife in Jack's Fax magazine, and although I have not been yet, it looks like a great option for your clients that are seeking a warm weather vacation destination. Just a reminder that after Cyril's presentation, there will be time for a question and answer session, so please write down any questions you may have for him in the space provided. And now, let me turn this session over to Cyril.
Great. Thanks, Doug. So, hello, everyone. As Doug mentioned, I'm Cyril Lamar. I'm the president of Quest Travel Adventures, and we have been working with the Tenerife Tourism Board for the last 3.5 years, trying to educate the travel agent community in North America, as well as the consumers, with regard to how fabulous our island is. So today we're going to talk about the island of Tenerife and some of the other Canary Islands, but mainly Tenerife. And what you're looking at here is the crown jewel of the island. It is called Mount Teide, and we'll talk a little bit about it, but it is the most visited and the most well-known landmark in Tenerife. I'll start a little bit by telling you maybe about the elevator pitch in terms of what Tenerife is like and why it's a great destination for your clients. I like to think of Tenerife as, the best place of all the different locations that you would and your clients would want to go to. And if you could imagine, basically, imagine the Tenerife as having the volcanic landscapes, hotels, resorts, and boardwalks of Maui and the weather of Maui, combined with the food, wine, Spanish colonial heritage, and port-like feel of Barcelona, combined with the black sand and white sand beaches, as well as the natural parks and nature of Costa Rica. And you combine all three of those destinations into this one little island that's located in Europe, out in the Atlantic, and you have Tenerife. Today we're going to talk a little bit about where it is. We'll talk about some of the accommodations, but most importantly, we're going to talk about what there is to do there and why your clients would want to go to the island. What you're looking at here is off of the north coast of the island, and you're overlooking Mount Teide National Park, which represents 52% of the island in national park, along with the Orotava Valley on the right-hand side. Isn't this just spectacular? But maybe we'll start with where it is. And as Doug mentioned, it is the largest of the Spanish Canary Islands, and they are located southwest of Spain, just off the coast of Morocco. It's about a 3-hour flight from mainland Spain in Madrid. That's the easiest way to get there, is to fly from the eastern seaboard, either to Madrid and or any other major European city, because it's connected to 180 different airports. So we do not currently yet have direct flights from the US, although we are expecting to and hoping to start direct air service in 2018 from the New York metropolitan area. But for now, you can book your clients to the airport codes TFN or TFS, and that will get you airlift directly onto the island of Tenerife. Because it's located right in the middle of the Atlantic, it is a perfect weather island, warm weather island destination. They call it the Island of Eternal Spring because it is between 72 degrees and 80 degrees Fahrenheit year-round from January all the way through December. It is, as I mentioned, part of Spain, so it's on the euro. It is an island that has a very sophisticated infrastructure, both road infrastructure and also city urban infrastructure in the capital city of La Laguna. It has modern highways. It has very well lit signage on the highways, so anyone who has a car and wants to see the island and explore, not a problem. They have great medical facilities. A lot of people from the African continent visit Tenerife for medical tourism, mainly because it also has a well-known university on the island that is affiliated with the medical and teaching hospital. And it also has the benefit of having a lower tax rate than the rest of Europe and the rest of Spain. The value-added tax in Tenerife is 7%, whereas in the rest of mainland Spain, it's 18%, and the rest of Europe, it's 18%. So it is a cost-effective destination for your clients as well. Now, in terms of the views, what you're looking at here is on the southern part of the island. Now, the island is really separated into two different areas, the north and the south. To go from the north to the south takes about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. And what you're looking at here is the sunset view of the island of La Gomera, which is located just off the southwest coast of the island. And this is the Sheraton La Caleta, which has a beautiful view of the sunset. But there are also many, many resorts on the island. It's home to some of the world's best hotel chains that you are familiar with, including the Ritz-Carlton Abama and the Sheraton La Caleta, which we'll talk about at the end of this presentation and give you an overview of those accommodations. But they also have on the island more 4- and 5-star resorts than in Madrid and Barcelona combined, including this hotel, the Hotel Botanico, and Oriental Spa Garden, which is located in the town on the northern part of the island called Puerta de la Cruz. And it's been rated just this year as the top spa in Europe by Condé Nast. And what you're looking at here is the beautiful botanical gardens that are available on the property. There are also many other spa facilities and great hotels both in and out of the city, depending on if you want to stay in an urban area or if you want to stay in the beach. Now, in terms of what there is to do on the island, and if you can close your eyes and imagine what would be an ideal vacation for you and what you'd like to do on a vacation, I can guarantee you that you can do it on the island of Tenerife. You have a combination of white sand beaches, as you can see here, as well as volcanic black sand beaches in the northern part of the island. And as we mentioned, Mount Teide is the highlight of the island. It is the most visited mountain and natural park in Spain. It's the tallest mountain in Spain with a height of 12,200 feet. And what you're looking at here is a phenomenon that's called the Sea of Clouds that happens every day at sunset. Now, the island has a road that will take you all the way into the national park. You can drive up, it's about an hour and a half drive up to the base of the cable car that takes you then up all the way to the summit here. And this phenomenon, what you're looking at here is the shadow of the volcano and of Mount Teide over the the clouds in the Atlantic Islands and the other Canary Islands. Isn't this just spectacular? Clearly a memorable activity and excursion that we can provide for you and or your clients. Now, what's interesting is that Mount Teide is home to more than 800 species of unique fauna and flora. So it's an ideal destination for nature lovers. What you're looking at here are some of the flowers that you can see in the park and that are only native to the Canary Islands. And these flowers are actually 6 to 7 feet high and come in red, white, and occasionally purple as well. Now, on the right-hand side of the image is the very tip top of the cable car. You can't see it because it's hidden from this view, but that's the view and the location where you can actually take this picture at the top of the volcano. Now, because where it's located in the middle of the Atlantic, and it doesn't have any light pollution or vehicle pollution, and because you're so high up at the mountain, you have the second best location for stargazing in the world. Now, what you're looking at here is not a Photoshop picture. This is actually what the stars and the skies look like. Now, one of my favorite activities is that we take our clients up for an afternoon excursion where they visit the natural park during the day and make multiple stops looking at the volcanic and geological uniqueness throughout the park. We take you to the top of the cable car where you can observe sunset, and then we bring you back down. You'll have a brief visit at the NASA Solar Observatory that's there, because that's where the NASA and the European space agencies actually have observatories where they can track and monitor formation of new galaxies and stars. And then when it's dark, and after a great traditional Canarian tapas dinner that is held at the cable car facility, we will take you out with a licensed astronomer for a 2-hour session on stargazing. And let me tell you, you will see constellations, stars that are thousands of light years away that you can only see in 1 or 2 other locations on the planet. It is a fabulous activity, but there are also plenty of other activities on the island. What you're looking at here is CM Park. So for families, the island is home to 2 of the top theme parks in the world. CM Park has been rated by TripAdvisor for the last 3 years as the #1 water park in the world. And the owner also has a sister park on the northern part of the island called Laurel Park that has also been rated this year as the #1 zoo in the world, ahead of the San Diego Zoo. So great destination, not only for couples and folks that are looking for a romantic getaway, but it's actually an even better location for any families that are looking for a unique destination for multi-generational vacations. The island is also home to 21 species of pilot whales and dolphins. Now, these are year-round. They are not migratory, and that's mainly because the island has such deep waters all around it. So it's about a 5-minute boat ride out or a sail ride away, and you're almost guaranteed to see these pilot whales, and occasionally as well some blue whales. Now, the island is also an adventure sports mecca. For clients that are looking to do some interesting activities, you've got it all. You've got paragliding. So this is about a 45-minute descent from Mount Teide into the Orotava Valley. There is also kite surfing. There is also the world's longest lava tube that you can explore with a guide. There is scuba diving. There is cycling. It's actually home to many European cyclists that train for the Tour de France because it is an elevation and because it has such temperate climate year-round. Athletes from all over the world, even American universities, train there in the summertime for cycling, for swimming, for running, and all other activities. Now, one of my favorite locations on the southern part of the island is an area called Los Gigantes. And in Spanish, that means the giants. And the reason they're called the giants is because these are 3,000-foot high volcanic cliffs that come right out of the ocean. And you can explore these either by boat. There are little boats that you can, power boats that you can rent just outside of this area at a local port. But for those of you that prefer the more authentic way to do it for your clients, you can also explore them by kayak or by paddleboard, or even by just walking and exploring as well. Now, for you and your clients that are looking for hiking activities and walking trails, there's plenty of those as well. There are multiple walking trails on the island, including in another national park on the northern end of the island called Taganana National Park. Now, this is very different because the northern part of the island is very lush, it's very green, it's got a very jagged landscape with lots of ravines looking out into the Atlantic Ocean and the other Canary Islands. But what's unique about this national park is that it has a prehistoric rhododendron and fern forest, as you can see here. Now, this is not photoshopped again. This is real life photography and image. And look at the size of these ferns compared to the photographer. Isn't that just amazing? It's almost like Jurassic Park-like. There's only 2 islands in the Canaries where you can see vegetation of this nature. And one of the other locations is on the neighboring island of La Gomera, which is just a 45-minute boat ride and ferry ride away. Simple day trip. Now, for the clients that are looking for golf, you have it there, check. There are 9 different courses on the island, ranging of all different levels of complexity and difficulty. What's unique about these golf courses is that because the island used to be an old banana plantation, and there are still many, many banana plantations on the island today, as it's their second biggest economic export on the island. You have these unique terraced landscapes that were made with the black rock, volcanic rock. What you're looking at here is the Ritz-Carlton Obama course. Now, most of the courses on the island have ocean views. There are also both courses on the north and on the south of the island. This course is very well known, but frankly, unless your clients are phenomenal professional level golfers, I would not recommend the course just because it is very challenging. There are other courses in the area like the Costa Adeje golf course or the Los Americanos golf course are very great options. And there's also in the northern part of the island a golf course called Bella Vista Golf Course, which was designed by a very famous Spanish professional player named Steven Ballesteros. And he designed that course, and it is now considered to be the Pebble Beach of Spain, mainly because of it's right on the coastline overlooking banana plantations and phenomenal ravines. Now, in addition to Mount Teide, the island also has a second UNESCO World Heritage Site behind Mount Teide, and that is the ancient capital of La Laguna. Now, because the island was the last port of call for the Spanish settlers and the American settlers and during the colonial days, there is a significant South American influence in both the architecture, food, and culture on the island. And what you're looking at here is the clock tower of La Laguna. Something that's also not known by many people is that the island is home to the second largest carnival in the world behind Rio de Janeiro. It is usually held the second or third week in February. And what you're looking at here is the Carnival Queen from 2 years ago. One of the rituals on the island is as part of the celebration of Carnival. All of the regional designers from the Canaries come and create these very ornate dresses. And it's a contest for who's going to be the best designer who's been named as the top Carnival Queen, maker of the top Carnival Queen dress. Quite ornate. Now, the only thing to keep in mind if you are going to book clients in the February timeframe or early March timeframe, this is the most booked time of year where Europeans all over and people from all over the world come to see Carnival, so hotel space can become limited. It's interesting to keep in mind that the island of Tenerife gets 6 million visitors a year. So there's about 1 million of them that are from the UK, 1 million of them from mainland Spain, 1 million from Spain, from France, Benelux, and Holland, and the rest are from throughout the rest of the world. But because of that, and because it has 1 million English tourists that come every year, what's nice about the island is that anywhere you go and almost anyone you talk to, there is not a language problem. All the locals speak English, and they speak English very well. In the summer, there are plenty of traditional folklore festivals and processions. From June through September, every Saturday, each of the local towns have these festivals called La Romeria. Now, what you're looking at is the traditional Canarian folklore costumes and outfits from the Aborigines that settled the island that were originally from Portugal. Now, every Saturday, these towns will compete and have these parades with musicians and dancers, but they'll also invite artists that take all of the different colors of sand that are available in and on Mount Teide, blue sand, orange sand, all different colors that you could think of, and they make murals, large murals, and they compete against one another between the towns during these La Romerias. Now, the main capital of Tenerife is Santa Cruz, and on Santa Cruz, there are all the amenities of a large city, including the amphitheater that is here. And this was designed, it looks a little bit like the Sydney Opera House, and it was designed by the same architect who made the Sydney Opera House. So it's a great place in the summer for classical concerts, performances, and exhibitions year-round. Now, if you're a little like me, I like my food and wine on my vacations, and Tenerife is no exception to great food and great wine. As I mentioned, it has a significant South American influence. So when imagining the food, if you can imagine southern Spain tapas food, like manchego cheese that you can see here, and jamon, and croquetas, and garlic shrimp, those are all can be found. But there are also unique flavors on the island and dishes on the island that you can only find there. And One thing to highlight is the honey that you can see here, and that's because it tastes like no honey you've ever had before, because you have those 800 species of unique flora and fauna on the island. Now, there's also plenty of local restaurants, seaside restaurants, both on the north and in the south of the island. Obviously, because it's an island, plenty of fresh seafood anywhere and everywhere you go. And then there are also some really great traditional Canarian dishes, like you see here, this braised pork that you have here, that I would strongly recommend as well. Now, for the wine lovers, one thing that's very interesting is that the island is home to unique grape varieties that can't be found anywhere else on the planet. And that is because they have some wines there that got transplanted and brought to the island from mainland Europe and France in the 15, 16, 1700s. And those grape varieties, the white is the Listan Bianco, and the red is the Listan Negro. And those varieties got wiped out in Europe in the 1800s during the phylloxera epidemic. But because the Canary Islands are in the Atlantic, those bugs never made it to the Canaries. And what you have today are lots of wineries. There are numerous vineyards and wineries that you can tour. There are 5 denominations of origin as well on the island. And the white is a little bit like a blend of a Sauvignon Blanc with maybe a Chenin Blanc. So crisp, dry, fruity, very refreshing. And the red is much more hearty. It's a little bit of a combination between a Tempranillo Grenache and a Syrah grape. Lots of tannins, very hearty, great with cheese and or pork, chicken meals. Now, the island, as I mentioned, has 52% of it that's protected national forest, and it's definitely worth a 3 or 4 hour tour to check out the national park, because there is plenty to see. And what's interesting is, as you check out Mount Teide and explore the island, as you go up in elevation to 12,800 feet, you'll experience 4 different microclimates. As you can imagine, at the top, it gets a little chilly, even in the summertime, because you're in such high elevation. So we do recommend to our clients to bring both warm weather clothing, and if you're planning on visiting Mount Teide, be prepared with a fleece or a windbreaker. So that's a little bit about the island. I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of our top resorts that we feature for our clients. And the first one is the Ritz-Carlton Abama. This one is a phenomenal property. It is located in outside of Costa Deje in the southern end of the island. And it has the golf course, but it overlooks the island of La Gomera that you can see in the background. It has a combination of rooms and suites. It's a large hotel that has 313 rooms. And it also has a kids area, as well as a club level and an adult only area for those that are looking to have a little alone time. There are also villas with a pool, the Mirador pool, that's an infinity pool overlooking the other island. And it also has a private beach that is considered to be one of the nicest beaches on the island. They have their own proprietary funicular that is like a tram that takes you from the beach area back up to the top of the cliffs. And there are all the facilities and amenities that you could want at the beach, including a snack area. Now, the rooms are phenomenal. You have, you can choose from ocean front and ocean side view. And obviously the The suites are outstanding. They were recently refurbished a couple years ago. And there are also a number of different restaurants on property. One of the new restaurants is the Abama Kabuki. Now, this is a traditional Japanese-style sushi restaurant that has been rated with a 1 Michelin star. But there is also a new restaurant that was renovated, the MB, which has 2 Michelin stars for your clients that are trying to celebrate a special anniversary or some other special event. The island has 5 Michelin star restaurants on the island, so there's plenty to choose from regardless of whether your clients are staying in the north or the south. It also has Tzoco, which is the traditional Spanish tapas style restaurant, very authentic. It has the steakhouse. It also has an outstanding Italian restaurant called the New Verona. And it also has a couple of snack bars and areas by the pool where you can enjoy a lunch or even a dinner. And of course, for those of you looking for something after hours, there is plenty. There's a lobby bar, there's a sports bar, but they also have a great sunset reception pretty much every day just outside the pool area in an area called the Cubanica. Plenty of tennis, as well as any golf lessons that you may want. So that's the Ritz-Carlton, which brings me to the other resort that we wanted to highlight, which is the Sheraton La Caleta. It is located in an area called La Caleta, which is what you're looking at here. It's an area also southwest on the island. And it is home to lots of great beaches, lots of great shopping, lots of great restaurants, and lots of nightlife as well. Now, the reason we feature both these hotels together is because the architecture of the hotel and the landscape and the views from the hotel are very, very similar. In fact, both hotels were designed and architected by the same architect and built right around the same time. So the rooms are almost identical. The exterior of the building are almost identical. The grounds are very, very similar. The only difference being obviously one having a Sheraton level of service, whereas the Ritz-Carlton having the Ritz-Carlton Sheraton level of service. The Sheraton has a great lobby, very bright hotel, very reasonable prices as well, depending on the season that your clients are going to be visiting. They can range from as low as 120 euros per person per night to about 150 euros per person per night. And obviously, if there are events or you have a group, there are group discounts that are available. It has 20 suites on property. It has also the terrace suites, which are pretty sweet. And it also has a club lounge facility for those of you that are looking for something a little bit more upscale and private. There's a lobby bar right outside the pool area. There is a phenomenal buffet restaurant called the El Parador. And it also, similar to the Ritz-Carlton, it has a Spanish restaurant that's called La Venta, and it has a Japanese restaurant called the Kamakura, where you can enjoy sushi and a host of other Japanese traditional meals. There's a poolside restaurant called that's Vivace. That's a little bit of an Italian flair, an Italian menu, and it also has all the spas that you would expect, and the spa facilities and plunge pools that you would hope to have at a resort of this caliber. For clients with kids, there is a kids club at the Sheraton La Caleta, and a phenomenal series of phenomenal pools that are absolutely stunning. So that's a little bit about the island. As I mentioned, we are the official Office of Representation. So we do have itineraries, sample itineraries, and we do have packages that we've put together with the help of the Tenerife Tourism Bureau to include a combination of 4 or 5-star hotels, depending on your client's price point. Most hotels include breakfast daily. Some of them include full board or half board options. One point to make is that all-inclusives are not really something on the island, mainly because the drink packages are almost never included as part of the full board packages. But there are a few properties on the island that we can help you select if your clients are really looking for that all-inclusive flavor. We do recommend avoiding the all-inclusive flavor, mainly because there is so much to do on the island. There are so many restaurants that you can walk to from pretty much any resort that you might be staying at that would help your clients get a flair for the authenticity of the island, the uniqueness of the culture and of the people, and the friendliness of the locals. We do offer also 12% agent commissions on all of our package, and we have a combination of 4-day, 7-day, and 9-day packages, depending on whether your clients are interested in extending an existing trip that they may be taking in Europe and just looking to tag on 3, 4, 5 days, or if they're really looking to find an immersion of 7, 9, or even sometimes 11 days visiting Tenerife and 1 or 2 of the other Canarian islands. We do recommend, as part of our standard packages, that Mount Teide be included as part of that, where we also take you into the stargazing sessions. The whale watch is also very interesting, offers you some great seaside views of Los Gigantes and of the coastline, as well as a visit up north to the ancient capital of La Laguna and Puerto de la Cruz. The 7-day itinerary is about the same thing. We add in a couple of other locations. One is the hidden village of Masca and the village of Garachico. Now, the hidden village of Masca is a little bit like, if you can think of Machu Picchu, it's a little tiny village located up in the hills that has spectacular views of the ocean and of the Canarian Islands. And Garachico is a Spanish colonial authentic port that got partially destroyed in the last eruption on the island in the 1700s and the 1760s, and that has a lot of vineyards associated with it, a lot of culture, town square, and it's a great little area to go explore for a few hours, including exploring the lava pools. They have natural lava pools right on the edge of their ocean, right by the seaside, and those are fun to explore and jump into as well. And we also add in a day either at CM Park, which is the #1 water park, or Laurel Park. And last but not least, we are also offering a special promotion for everyone that's participating in this webinar. We're offering $200 per person off any booking, 2017 or 2018 booking, and we'll extend that to any 2019 booking as well. So that is the island of Tenerife, and now I'll open it up to questions.
Great. Thanks, Cyril, for a very informative and comprehensive presentation. It really does look like Tenerife is a combination, the best of the Caribbean, Latin America, and Europe all rolled up into one island. So looks fantastic.
It really is. It really is.
All right, we do have a few questions here. We just had one comment from Desiree saying that, wow, the views are breathtaking from Mount Teide, and I have to agree, especially the stargazing looks incredible. Let's see. Next question was from Dennis, and he asked, will North American clients with food allergies like gluten-free have issues dining in the hotels and local restaurants?
Great Great question. No, they're not going to have any issues. Again, as I mentioned, they do get 6 million travelers a year. The Europeans and the Brits also have gluten allergies and food restrictions and dietary restrictions, just like Americans and Canadians do. So that's not going to be an issue. Just let them, whatever restaurant you go into, as I mentioned, almost everybody speaks English. Just talk to them, let them know that you have any food, nut, whatever allergies you may have or dietary restrictions, and they will accommodate. One other question that's associated with that too that we've had in the past have been questions related to disabilities and people with disabilities and whether or not the resorts and the restaurants and the hotels can accommodate people with disabilities. And same thing, again, it's 6 million travelers a year. Not all hotels on the island can accommodate people with disabilities, but there are plenty that on the island that will cater to those individuals.
Excellent. We have a question from Cindy. She wanted to know if you can give an idea of what the average green fees are for golfing.
Yeah, sure. So it depends on the course. The lower end courses that, frankly, I'm a golfer myself, and I've played 3 courses on the island. And the lower end courses are going to be in the 60 euros, 70 euros with cart fees. That's about just under $100, $90 or so. And you can go all the way up to the other end. The most expensive course on the island is the Ritz-Carlton Obama course. That's the PGA level course, and I believe that was 140 euros, so $170 green fees with cart.
Great, still reasonable. Okay, Normar asked if you can repeat the name of the wine and grapes.
Sure. So there are 2 grape varieties. The white wine is the Listan Bianco. That's Listan-Bianco. And the other one is Listan Negro. So Listanegro. There are a number of different estates. There's plenty of different estates on the island that you can go and visit in terms of winery estates. The 2 that we recommend for our clients and that we usually take our clients to is Bodegas Monje, M-O-N-J-E, that is located on the northern part of the island, and they can accommodate groups as well as tours of the cellars as well as luncheons. And on the southern part of the island, there's Bodega Frontas, F-R-O-N-T-A-S. Same thing, they can handle weddings, receptions, or just private transfers. And I do recommend for anyone going to the island to try the wines. And one of the interesting tidbits in history is that if you read Thomas Jefferson's autobiography on wine, because he was a very big wine buff, you will read in there that the founding fathers, after signing the Declaration of Independence, toasted the signing of the Declaration of Independence with wine that Thomas Jefferson had brought back from Tenerife.
Wow.
So, little interesting tidbit.
Who knew? Okay.
Thomas Jefferson.
Apparently he did. Desiree asks if any of the properties offer transfer service from the airport, and approximately how long is the drive from either the north or south end of the island?
Great question. Yes, most of the properties on the north and south can arrange for transports. We can arrange for transports as well. The transports, if you're flying in to the northern airport, which is Tenerife North, TFN, those are going to be those are clients that are coming in from mainland Spain. So that is the airport that handles all domestic Spanish flights from Madrid, Barcelona, Sevilla. And to get from that airport in the north to the southern resorts is about a 40-minute drive, 45-minute drive, depending on which resort you go to. If you fly into the southern airport, which is TFS, That's going to be any connections coming in from Heathrow, Paris, Amsterdam, any of the other major gateways, and or Reykjavik for another one. That could be another one. And that is about 10 minutes, 15 minutes from the southern resorts. Or if you want to be staying in the north, it's about a half hour to go from the southern airport to the north.
Great. Speaking of driving, Cindy asks if a client wants to rent a car, is it easy to drive and negotiate the island?
Absolutely. There are, as I mentioned, there's one major motorway that goes around the island. It's a 4-lane highway that's very well marked. It's very well lit. The signs are in Spanish, but you can make out clearly the destinations, be it La Caleta or whatever it is. And obviously, there are GPSs, including Google Maps and Waze, that work on the island. And there's also Uber that works on the island, even though it's not officially endorsed. It's very easy to get a rental car. We do provide rental car options for some clients that are autonomous. But that's clearly something that we recommend for all of our clients, is to take out a rental car for a day or two or more and go out and explore on their own. It's very easy to get around.
Good, thanks. Rita asks, how far is the cable car from the ship ports and how much is the fee?
So the ship ports are to the base of the cable car will take you about an hour, just about an hour and a half to go up into the national park to the base of the cable car. It's at an elevation of about 9,000 feet. So anyone looking to go to the very top of the volcano at 12,200 feet, I would recommend that you verify with your clients that they do not have any cardiac or other medical or conditions that would, or any predispositions to altitude sickness for that matter, because it is pretty high. And the cable car is a €35 fee to go from the base to the top, which is about a 5-minute cable car ride. And it's again, it is the highlight, and I would strongly recommend it. Anyone who, there's no need for any physical activity or exertions at all. It's very easy to get to.
Great. A couple more here. Dennis asks, what agent commission does Quest Travel Adventure pay for bookings? And he also asked, do you market to their clients after a booking?
We pay 12% agent commissions. And no, we do not. But obviously we understand that the travel agent relationship with your clients is gold. That is a trust relationship. And even though we do sell other products to our list, anyone that comes through the travel agent, obviously, those are your clients. We do not communicate, email, or solicit your clients.
That's a good answer. Desiree asks, when is the high and low season for the Canary Islands?
Because it's such a significant European destination, it's a little bit like the Caribbean in that any school vacation in Europe is going to be the high season for them. So Christmas, New Year's, Carnival in end of February, those are the 3 busiest times a year. So that's typically end of December, early January, February timeframe. Occasionally in April, April break for the schools, you have a lot of German tourists, English tourists, French tourists, Spanish tourists that go down with their families. And the shoulder season or low season is actually the summer. So June, July, August, September are, I wouldn't say quiet, but they're, they are not as busy as other times of the year.
Great. Okay, we actually have several more questions here. I'm not sure how much time you have, but Nancy asks, is it best to fly there from Madrid?
I would recommend it until we get the direct flights from the United States, and hopefully that'll be starting in Q2 2018. The shortest connections and the easiest way to get there is either New York, Boston, Atlanta, direct to Madrid. You fly out, arrive in Madrid at 6 in the morning, get on the first flight to Tenerife, which is, I believe, at 8:30, and you're on the island by 10:30.
Okay. Another question, is the promotion just for 2 adults, and are there any extra discounts for kids?
The promotion is not just for adults, it's for all, and it's not just for couples, it's for all travelers. If you have a group, it also applies to the group. There are no additional discounts for children. However, depending on the hotel you might be interested in staying, we could explore if there are hotels on the island that have kids specials at the time of year that you're interested in going, that your clients are interested in going to. They occasionally do 25% off or even 50% off, depending on the time of year.
Okay. Another question, which area of the Canary Islands would offer the most flower gardens for garden club groups, for example?
So Tenerife, to me, has the best of all the different Canary Islands, and it has the best one for anyone looking to find unique flora and fauna. As I mentioned, there's 800 species of unique flora and fauna in Mount Teide National Park. There is also a botanical garden that's very well known in the town of Puerta de la Cruz that has lots of unique species as well. And then there's also Loro Park, which is that animal kingdom type park that also has flowers and gardens inside the park that would be worth looking at. There's also Lanzarote, which is a great destination as an alternate island to see flowers, but it's a little bit harder to get to.
Okay. Next question, is continental breakfast included at the hotels?
The hotels include full breakfast. So it's not continental breakfast. It's usually full breakfast buffets. And at the Sheraton, the Ritz-Carlton, the H10s, all those are, as nice of a hotel breakfast spread as you've seen, with, egg stations and smoked salmon and cereals and freshly made breads, pretty much everything you can think of.
Sounds good. Somebody's asking if driving is on the left or right-hand side of the road.
It's Europe, so it's on the right-hand side. It's Spain, so it's on the right-hand side.
Okay. About how much for a 4-day package, including air from New York City?
The air packages, well, the land packages are usually $9.99 for the 4-day packages. The air components, it really depends on the date that you're looking at. Airfare from New York can range between $600–700 if you are looking at Iberia. Iberia, for example, is running some specials right now during the winter months, so you can get some great deals. In the summer months, you could be looking at $1,200–1,300 airfare for Europe.
Okay. Somebody's asking if, this is hypothetical, I guess, if you could do at some point a webinar on all of the Canary Islands.
Yeah, we certainly could. There's a lot. You'd almost have to do one on each of the islands because all of the islands have their local flair. We obviously like Tenerife because it's, as I mentioned, it has the best of what each of the other 6 islands has to offer.
Okay.
But yeah, you and I can take that offline, Doug, and maybe we schedule something.
Yeah. Okay.
Q1.
Sounds great. And the last question kind of leads me into the end of the presentation. That was somebody's asking if they can receive a copy of the presentation. And I just wanted to let you know that we have been recording this, and it will be available at www.jacksfax.com under the Agent Training tab, and we will be providing Cyril a copy of it as well. So it may be on their website. I guess, Cyril, you could answer that.
Yeah, if you feel free to send me an email at clemaire@Quest Travel Adventures, and let me just go to my email address so everyone can has it.
Well, that's great, because that was another question, if you could provide that again, so that's perfect.
Hold on a second. Bear with me here. There you go. So my email address is clemaire, CLEMAIRE, at Quest Travel Adventures. And alternatively, we have a microsite for the US travel agents. And if you go to www.traveltotenerife.com, we have a portfolio of videos, imagery, highlights, and any questions, requests, or quotes that you may need. Feel free to contact us through traveltotenerife.com or call us at 1-800-693-1815.
Perfect. Well, I think that wraps it up. Cyril, thank you very much for a fantastic presentation. And thank you to everybody who attended today's webinar. Come back and see us again soon. I'd like to wish everybody a very safe and happy Thanksgiving holiday. And we will talk to you soon. Thank you, Cyril.
Thanks, Doug. Take care, everyone.